Islam Makhachev is the new UFC lightweight champion after defeating Charles Oliveira by second-round submission at UFC 280. Fighters gave their thoughts on his performance in the latest edition of MMA Pros React.
I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome. You know, I had Oliveira going out there winning. I thought he had more to bring to the table in that fight. Really good jiu-jitsu. But he got a little careless with his striking. And, you know, Islam took advantage of that. Ended up knocking him down and finished him with a arm triangle. Good for him, man. You know, good for him. New champ. You know, I mean, him and, you know, Khabib were both champions. Now he's champion.
You know, I was very sad for Charles, you know, but I know he's gonna come in. This is making just his strong. His story in life is amazing. He's from Shooter Box Brazil. He's London great. So nice to see after the fight they really respect each other. You know, it's really nice. But I believe Islam is a good fight. But I believe if it's fight Benny, it's gonna be a tough fight for him. You know, Benny very good defend takedowns. He's a southpaw, great strike. I'm excited to see this one.
It was a great performance, right? He was better at the striking, in the grappling. Like, you cannot take anything from him. It was a great performance of Islam.
Were you expecting the fight to play out that way?
No, it was a tough fight to call, you know, but I thought Oliveira, he was doing good in the division. His wins, he was like, I don't know how many wins streak he had, and I was watching his interview and he seems like confident, and I thought it would be a much more competitive match, but Islam just dominated him.
Extraordinarily impressive performance. I don't think anybody would have saw him actually submitting Charles. I think that was like the most mind-blowing part. We all knew that Charles was going to get taken down. Everybody knew Charles was going to get hurt. But I really, truly thought that Charles was going to be able to weather the storm a little bit more and have some slick grappling to kind of like maneuver his way out of positions and even maybe get a submission of his own, even when the cards were down against him, because that's usually what has been happening to Charles, especially as of late. Like, he gets hurt every fight he's getting taken down, every fight he's on the ground, and then he somehow finds a way to just like maneuver around it. But yeah, Islam did an amazing job, and congratulations to him. He just did a beautiful performance, you know, and he really stuck to the game plan. It was just a very simple game plan. And yeah, there weren't any chinks in his armor, so hats off to him. But I thought it was interesting how they put Volkov straight into the cage to potentially fight next, when Beneil Dariush was like sitting there waiting. He's like, dude, I just won my fight against a very, very impressive grappler that the cards were completely stacked against him, I felt like, even in that opportunity. And he showcased and shined. He's screaming for this title contention. And they just were like, yeah, okay, come on, Volkanovski, here you go. I'm like, what is happening right now, you know?
You know, that surprised me. I thought Charles was going to, you know, do a little bit better, but, you know, I feel like people were saying that he was going to quit and all this stuff, and I feel like, you know, in some ways maybe he did. Like, I don't think he quit, but it was just, I feel like it was a little bit less of a fight than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be way more competitive, and I thought the ground game was going to be, you know, a little bit more competitive than it was, than Islam just jumping on top and grabbing that submission after knocking him down.
I actually, I was wrong in most of the picks I had. I think a lot of those fights were very close and could have went either way, but I actually did pick Islam for that fight for that exact reason. People don't realize, like, Charles does go close guard a lot when you get him down, and I expected Islam to get him down, and for me, I thought it would go longer than what it did. But if you pay attention to Islam and the things he was saying leading up to that fight, he said, everybody rocks him and doesn't go to the ground with him. I'm going to go to the ground with him, and I'm going to finish him. And I believe that. I saw him in person training on the same match with him at Tiger. And so I saw him wrestling with Russian guys. I saw him wrestling, and I see him like, man, this guy is elite grapplings. Like, he's getting those guys out of there, you know? So for my eyes, I didn't really see, my biggest worry was where he had a lot of anxious energy. You know, if you listen to Khabib, when some of his fights early in the UFC, he's always telling Islam, calm down, take your time, right? So that's what, now that he's getting to his level, he's learning how, but he even had that nervous energy at the start of this fight. So if I can say anything, that's the one thing that he'll have to like keep honing in his stand-up. But everything else, I have no doubt that he'll remain champ. I don't see anyone beating him for a while. Alex has the best chance because of his feints and the way that he's able to manipulate people on the feet and he has really heavy hips. So if that fight happened, that's going to be very interesting. But he is just like smaller guy at the end of the day. So we'll see.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. Especially if that was going to be a sub. I was fully expecting it from Oliveira's side. And I was picking him every single time. I was just like, no, he's gonna be too much for Islam. But Islam's calm, cold, and calculated is what it seemed like. He just did all the right things when he needed to. I don't know. I hope Oliveira gets a rematch because I've been a big Oliveira fan for years. So I might be a little biased.